Hi, everyone. So I was trying to read Yeonmi Park's book in order to fact check, but then I got to about page 2 and I saw this paragraph, which was so ridiculous. Let me show you what that paragraph was. That was so ridiculous that I'm like, oh God. And then I started looking up. First, let me show you the paragraph. Hold on. Found it. Okay, so let's see. What does she say? Oh, it's not big enough. Darn. How do I make it bigger? Where is this screen? Okay, I'll make it bigger. Hold on. Except in the North, there are no words for things like shopping mall, liberty, or even love, at least as the rest of the world knows it. So then I was like, oh, I have a whole bunch of DPRK literature in my literature archives. Thank you, Natalie Revolts, for it. And I was like, why should I just look for the word love? But then I was like, what if they complain that the translation's wrong or something like that? And then I just remembered a few months ago, I had downloaded some parts of Kim Il-sung's book With the Century. He's a very good writer. So I'm just going to play his... Hi, Monrovia is the capital of Liberia. No, I have not seen it. I don't even know where to see it. And I've been given a Spotify link. So if you can download the video for me and send it, we can debunk it. What is TDS? Wait, Yeonmi was on they allowed her on Colbert Report. What is TDS again? I don't know. Whew. Yeah, well, we've done 2 videos debunking her other nonsense. One, I got so tired. Yeonmi was... Can somebody find me a link and download that video? Okay, I can go on live. I mean, I don't want to compete with Caleb. Can you send me the link or download it for me, please? Okay. Anyways, this made me laugh too much. So I was then like started to play the video, and it was like nice and relaxing. It has a nice and relaxing voice, and it is subtitled. So I thought we could, since I'm kind of tired anyways, we could do that. So without further ado, I will start with the Century Part 1. He's a really good writer. He's very descriptive, very nice. I've read a lot of this book, and the audiobook is also nice. And I'm like, okay, so if you're gonna get an unbridled Yeonmi propaganda, we might as well get some real stuff. So let us begin without further ado. Chapter 1, Part 1 of With the Century.
위대한 수령 김일성 동지의 회고록
Let me know if you can
세기와
hear and
더불어
see the subtitles.
1권 제1부 항일혁명. 회고록 1권의 앞에는 위대한 수령님의 다음과 같은 친필 명제가 있습니다. 혁명하는 사람은 언제나 인민을 믿고 인민에 의거하면 100번 승리하지만 인민의 버림을 받게 되면 100번 패한다는 진리를 삶과 투쟁의 좌우명으로 삼아야 한다. 김일성. 회고록 1권에는 위대한 수령님께
Okay, I can't make it. In that case, we're gonna have to stop it, and I have to retranscribe the subtitles. And yeah, unfortunately. So let me see if it's still small if I hide myself. Give me 1 second.
에서 쓰신 다음과 같은 머리글이 있습니다. 머리글. 무릇 인생 말년에 자기의 한 생을 회고한다는 것은 참으로 감회로운 일이다. 걸어온 행로가 같지
Should I make it bigger? So do you guys, in this case, I'm gonna have to okay, in that case, I'm going to have to transcribe it. I can do it. Okay. And we will, if you can't see it on the mobile, I will have to retranscribe it, and it's 1080 by 1920. So yeah, I guess we're not going to do this. We'll just, I guess, have to. Okay, so we're gonna have to retranscribe this for mobile. I can do this. It's not a problem at all. In that case, we're okay. In that case, meanwhile, okay, I'm gonna log off very soon. In that case, within like the next 10 minutes, because I don't want you guys to choose, and I'm kind of sleepy. So let's just read a little bit more of Yeonmi's book. Unless somebody gives me Yeonmi's thank you. Let's do okay, thank you so much. Tomorrow at 10, I'm going live, not today at 10. Okay, no, I can get the link too, but the Spotify link, what it does is if you don't sign up for Spotify, it just cuts you off after like a few minutes. I need the MP3 pulled. So let's just, I guess we'll do a little bit more of Yeonmi's book. Tell me if it's big enough for you to read. We can express the love at least as the rest of the world knows it. Only true love we can express is the worship for the Kims. You do know about half the country has the last name Kim, but whatever. A dynasty of dictators who ruled North Korea for 3 years. Do you guys know who the head of state of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea is? Hint, it is not Kim Jong-un. It is Cho, Ranghae. So he's like the head of the party of Workers' Party or something like that. So first of all, okay, so yeah, no, so Kim Il Sung was like the president, and then I don't know who the head of state with Kim Jong Il was actually, but now even American propaganda lets you know that Kim Jong Un is not even in the Korean presidium, okay, whatever, the Supreme People's Assembly, and it has yeah. So he's kind of like Tom Perez in that he's the chairman of the Workers' Party of Korea, and he's also good with people. So they send, and his grandfather is of course very popular for fighting for independence even in the South. So they send him on like diplomatic stuff. He's kind of like their mascot, for lack of a better word. So okay, let's see. Okay, somebody send me a timestamp or something like that. Come on, or no, she's making it up. Okay. Let's see. Let's continue. If you can send me timestamps of Joe Rogan's interview, I will put it up and we can mock it. Let me see if I can find it. Oops, I forgot to monetize this, so let me see if I can fix that. And please donate and subscribe, and I will. Let's see. Yeah, she's like a big liar. Let's see. I've seen like her. Oh my God, what is she doing to her face? What has she done to herself? Why is she even allowed to be in public? Okay, so where do I find hold on, I can. Who is they? Okay, anyways, let's continue. Yes, please. The regime blocks all outside information. That is absolutely 100% false. Let me show you. You can in fact, the National Endowment for Democracy sends like propaganda that over like hundreds of thousands of people can see it. And thank you so much. And also, where I don't know, I can't. There's no way I can actually tell if it blocks movies or videos. But here is what I can tell you. Yeah, there was a video where these kids go, and oh my God, this is actually. Let me show you like something really weird. And psychotic. Just you have to give me 1 minute for this, because I did not expect with the century to not have visible enough subtitles, which I will work on. It's not that hard for mobile screens. But c'est la vie. Okay, I think I found it. Oh my God, this is the worst thing. Give me 1 minute to upload.
Everywhere you turn in North Korea, there's anti-American propaganda. Images of nuclear-tipped missiles pointed directly at the U.S. These themes are woven into the fabric of North Korean culture. Even young children have told me they want to kill Americans.
Who do you want to fight?
We want to fight the sworn enemy, Americans.
What if I told you I'm an American? Do you want to shoot me too?
Oh my god!
Yes. Yes.
I remember
What kind
this
of
trip to
psycho
a
reporter
Pyongyang
asked this question to little children? Also, let's look at I actually don't know what they said because he had a voiceover, so I don't exactly trust them to be translating correctly. But what kind of psycho asks toddlers, "Hey, do you want to shoot and kill me?" I mean, that sounds totally psycho and unprofessional. I actually think it would be funny if North Koreans were to come to like random places and be like, yo, you guys killed 4 million of our people and destroyed all 22 of our cities and engineered a starvation and a genocide and then separated our country and balkanized it by installing fascist collaborators who then massacred millions. Do you want to kill us? Or I don't know. But this is like, see, the fact that he was able to go inside of North Korea and ask little toddlers this proves to me that they were not authoritarian enough. Like, this should not be allowed.
textile mill. Anti-U.S. propaganda greeted us at nearly every corner.
Where?
Outside,
I don't see any. I see the Korean flags here. I don't see any anti-U.S. propaganda, but whatever.
missiles blowing up the U.S. Capitol. Inside,
Okay.
a personal attack on North Korea's public enemy number one.
Because you balkanized half the country, you then installed fascist collaborators. My Twitter image? Are you the Sterling who made my Google, not Google, I'm sorry. My podcasts, are you Sterling? Oh, thank you so much, if you are. So, yeah, it's like they balkanized half the country, massacred millions, started the war, installed fascist collaborators, engineered multiple starvations, sanctioned them despite knowing that they're not food sovereign. Thank you so much. And the list goes on and on and on. It seems like the demon does not know how demonic the demon was.
This propaganda banner says that the workers are motivated by their burning hatred for the United States. And in fact, it reads, "Let's tear apart the mentally deranged U.S. president."
Okay, I don't read Korean, so I can't be sure if it really says that, but it sounds great. It sounds accurate. The president is mentally deranged.
Donald Trump.
The worker I interviewed was carefully chosen by our government guides.
Okay, this reminds me of that Vice. I'll show you the Vice scene. It's hilarious. But carefully, like he just made that up. Oh, that was some guy who was trying to troll me. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. No, I'll show you DPRK propaganda. It goes very close to the truth. So, yeah, this is like an Oriental nonsense. How do you know it was carefully chosen? This is like utter nonsense. Okay, let's continue.
What do you think about Americans and the United States in general?
Only hatred. It makes me shudder.
That's like going to a Jewish person and asking, what do you think of Nazi Germany? Because remember, they bombed all 22 cities and exterminated 1/4 of the population in one of the most brutal wars. If she said this, of course. CNN's not known for accurately translating U.S. enemies. Like, they've mistranslated Putin at least twice, Ahmadinejad many times too, so.
Each missile launch, each nuclear test gave North Koreans a sense of national pride.
Okay.
Or at least that's what they said in the presence of our government minders.
Government minders. Like, I don't see any government minders, but translators? I don't know. What are they talking about? I mean, yeah, this is stupid. Like, I can't verify anything, like even the fact that there were government minders. So, yeah.
주체 107 2018년 4월 21일부터 핵시험과 대륙간 탄도 로켓 시험
Okay.
발사를 중지할 것이다.
I wonder what North Koreans must be thinking now that their government is telling them there's no longer a need to launch intercontinental ballistic missiles, now that their supreme leader Kim Jong-un is ordering the nuclear test site at Punggye-ri to be shut down. Getting rid of
Hold on. Did he do that's not how their law works, because you should look at article whatever of their can somebody pull up their constitution? It's article, I forgot, but article 112. Yes, it's article 112 of the DPRK constitution, which tells you that their leading body is the Supreme People's Assembly. So this is utter ignorance by CNN's part. I'll show you. They had an amendment really okay, I found it. I'll show you what it says. Is this the newest one? Yes. Hold on. Yep, I found it. Okay. So it took me 30 seconds of research to find out that this is what their constitution says. The Presidium of the Supreme is the highest organ of state power. So the Supreme People's Assembly is... Do you know, Mama? I don't know. The Supreme People's Assembly is the highest organ of state power when the Supreme People's Assembly is not in... Okay. The Presidium of the Supreme People's Assembly consists of the President, Vice President, Secretary, and members. Okay, so how it works is, let's just figure this out. Section 1, Supreme People's Assembly. Okay. The legislative power is exercised by the Supreme People's Assembly. So what happened is that they amended their constitution in 1990 something, where they got rid of the the executive branch and replaced it with basically an elected executive branch. So it's kind of like a little bit more democratic than it used to be, I guess. Okay, the demo is a revolutionary. Okay, so I mean, and this just took me 30 seconds to know what he does. And so if you're gonna say, oh, what if they're lying? Well, it's kind of, when you have a constitution, that document itself needs to, limits what you're capable of doing. So it's basically, sure, they could be, but you need to find evidence that it's not like that, and the entire country of 40 million is secretly run by the Kim Jong-un family, or 30 million or 20. How many people live there? And it would involve a very vast conspiracy that Americans themselves, if you were to apply it to the US government, would call you totally nuts. But everyone is basically Alex Jones when they're speaking about the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. So let's see what the population is. 25.6 million people. Are they really going to have Orientalist nonsense? It's pretty hard to do that. Have an entire government of a fuss. It's just bizarre. None of it makes sense. The way the U.S. media wants to portray it. But let's continue.
nukes would be a huge cultural shift for North Koreans, thinking of America as a friend, not an enemy, an even bigger change.
I want to see how on earth the US looks like to be harassing Korean people so much, sanctioning our economy. What grudge is there between Korea and the US? They invaded our country and massacred us. Why do you think we are suffering now? I really curse the Americans and want to destroy their land.
Okay.
That
She actually told 100% the truth. Like, there is not a single lie in what she said.
That's what they say when the cameras are rolling. But off camera, most North Koreans are very friendly and kind. They ask me questions about my life and my travels, which gives me hope that even though North Koreans have said for 65 years they have a burning hatred for the United States, many of them would welcome the easing of tensions if this planned summit goes well between Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump.
Yeah, I mean, they're nice to him as a person because they're not horrible. But, I mean, like, the country versus the person. And, wow. I mean, no, she literally told 100% the truth. I mean, that's exactly what the US did. So, yeah. So let me see if I still have that section of the Vice. Probably having to do with the Balkanization, genocide, murder, the extermination, mass starvation, destroying all 22 cities, putting back fascist collaborators. The list goes on and on and on. Okay, so let me see if I can find that Vice documentary, because there's a second where he kind of gets a moment of realization that he's a... Oh, wait, actually, I have even something, but okay, I also have this PragerU thing downloaded to debunk. So let's first do the Vice one, and then we shall see if we can do the PragerU one. Yeah, let's see. Oh, I have another DPRK lie. Okay, let's see. Where is that? Okay. Oh yeah. Let's just. I think this may be it. Let me see if I can forward it to.
Versus.
Yeah, this
right
is
up
it.
from the room. Demarcation line, and the sand is north. Fire and landmines and checkpoints everywhere. So it's kind of a very bizarre theme park.
Ruled by one person.
So we're at the last stop in South Korea before going to the DMZ. This here is Freedom Bridge. Right after the Korean War, it was the last time the North and South exchanged POWs. And on the other side of that now, a little further back, is North Korea.
No, okay.
Right here, it's kind
okay,
of...
let me see what.
A few of them had said, and they're like, we have to go now. Here's your passport. Let's go. A documentary.
Let me see.
To Korea?
But captured by our...
Been told that.
I want to...
Hours. And the first thing you notice are, there's no cars. The villages have no electricity. There's no checkpoint.
Here it is. Find it. Okay.
There's no electricity in Pem.
Your political indoctrination. Whole country.
So in the South, they grope you every 20 minutes. There's checkpoint. But on the North, they let you just drive for 2 hours straight without monitoring you. So, but of course, the North Korea is the authoritarian one. Okay. So one side gropes you everywhere for like every 20 minutes when going to the DMZ, and the other side just like lets you drive for 2 hours with no one. Okay. Let's continue. So in the South Korean side, you can't point, you can't take pictures, you can't drink beer, and that's supposed to be the free and democratic side. In the north, you can point, you can take whatever picture you want, you can give anyone the finger, you can get drunk on beer. So now, and that's the authoritarian side. That's the funny thing, is that in this documentary, he kind of accidentally, like, his like brain is like almost getting it, but then something, it's like he almost hits that brick wall. So yeah, okay, this is the funniest part. What response video? Yeah, so like I said, what you see is that, imagine you are Kim Il-sung. You are fighting 30 years in the mountains to get rid of the Japanese. Oh, okay. Let me show you what Liberation Day is. This was Liberation Day in Korea. See, their chains are coming off. These are prisoners of war. They're burning Japanese flags. So that was Liberation Day. Guess what happens after Liberation Day? Well, the Korean people had decided to have a constituent assembly representative of the people. But on September 6th, oh my God, that's 2 days from now, the US came on September 6th and dissolved the People's Assembly in their half of the country. And then they put fascist Japanese policemen back. And then they picked Syngman Rhee, who the CIA called unpopular. And oh, no, let me see the exact words that they called Syngman Rhee. I forgot what it was. Let's see. Okay. They called him over. I'm trying to find what the CIA called him. Like something like unpopular and Let's see. Hold on. Found it. Okay, I found it. Give me 1 second. I'll share this now. They called him CIA, again, CIA document. Present indications are that a government dominated by the extreme rightists under Ri Syngman will emerge from the forthcoming UN-observed elections. Such a regime, if left to itself, would be incapable of withstanding ideological and military pressure from North Korea. On the other hand, any unconditional U.S. commitment to such a potentially unpopular and unreliable government might be a source of future embarrassment for U.S. policy in the Far East. So I interviewed Grover Furr on my podcast. He is very meticulous, very thorough. He's not a good storyteller. He's a little dry. So fact-wise, he's very meticulous. He's good at languages. He's good at translation. So I've actually, my most popular episode is the Grover Furr episode. That's been the most downloaded episode, actually. What's not wrong? So then they had this unpopular, unreliable guy. Let's see, what else do they say about him? Oh, this is my second most favorite one. Tactically, the left forced the immediate reaction from the right. The leadership of this group, as in the one that was in charge of the U.S. occupied part of parties, is provided with a numerically small class, which virtually monopolizes the native wealth and education of the country. Since it fears that an equalitarian distribution of vested Japanese assets would serve as a precedent for the confiscation of concentrated Korean-owned wealth, it has been brought into basic opposition with the left. Since this class could not have acquired and maintained its favored position under Japanese rule without a certain minimum collaboration, it has experienced difficulty in finding acceptable candidates for political office. It has been forced to support imported expatriate politicians as Syngman Rhee and Kim Koo. While they have no pro-Japanese taint, they are essentially demagogues bent on autocratic rule. Acceptance of this extremist leadership has forced the right to discard its more moderate elements that has served to widen the gulf between the opposing camps. But guess what happened? Kim Koo was assassinated by the CIA because he was like, this feels really skeezy. So then he crossed the zone and went to talk with Kim. This is Kim Il-sung. He looks a lot like Kim Jong-un. I know, he looks like, it's creepy how similar they look. Not creepy because he's grandson and son, but he went to negotiate this, and this is what Kim Il-sung and Kim Koo are discussing reunification. But he was a patriot. He disobeyed the U.S. and tried to unify Korea, and then he got banged by the CIA. Oh yeah, they had to then exchange him for, what's his name? Park. Yeah, he was a horrible person, Syngman Rhee. So anyways, let's see if there's any, I just want to explain this. Let's see, is there any okay, so yeah, that's about it, I guess. I've been trying to get Kim Jong-un's sister. She has a Facebook page, but she's been ignoring me. So we'll see. Thank you so much. You're so sweet. You're way too sweet. Aw, thank you. Yeah, I've been trying to get her to come, and she's so. I mean, of course, she's gonna ignore me, but I would. You know what? Who I should have? I know exactly who to have, but I'd need it. He wrote a really good book about the deep history of Korea, but I need a translator. So hold on. Yeah, I'll probably can get them in the next few months eventually. But for now, I will. Yeah. So let's see if there's any other videos we can share about the DPRK. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see what else. Okay. Oh, the train part. Yeonmi can. Okay. Okay. So here's a turn. Okay. This is debunks Yeonmi's silly thing about the trains. Yes, he's a good one. I should probably get him too. See, here's a train that we don't need the sound because it's just a train. And see, train. You'll see it's crossing the border. What did Yeonmi say about the trains on Joe Rogan? I don't know, but she said something really stupid. So here's it. See, train. You're okay. The train goes. Brrr, I don't know. Like I forgot what she said about the trains. Thank you so much. I already did, but I can do a second one. See, like I said, okay, so this I hope. Here is the one about. Wait, what did she say? A month to do what? This is a daily train. There are trains that. Oh, the Vice guy. He also Okay, there's a part where he's like, "Oh, this is this top secret labor camp." So it was not a labor camp. And then he takes a train with like thousands of people. Like he takes a Trans-Siberian Express, and there's like Russians, Koreans, Chinese people, and you're like, that doesn't sound. Thank you so much, Yvonne Anderson. Yes, thank you so much. Yep, I can do another episode, of course. If you like, tell us what more you want, and thank you. So, anyways, that debunks that stupid point of Yeonmi's. I forgot. Okay. So, I don't. Yeah, the best thing. I only like, ideally with propaganda, I like to just download the transcript and just like through it so that I don't have to like deal with the nonsense. Let's see. Is there anything else? Let's see. Okay. What else? What else can we? I have one more. I'm trying to remember. Oh, let's do this one video. This is so stupid. Okay. This is about Otto Warmbier, and this is a video. Я изучаю русский язык. That sounds insane. Okay. That sounds weird, stupid, wrong. Okay, so let us, what was I gonna upload? I'm trying to, what did I just say I was gonna upload? I forgot what I was gonna say, what I was just gonna upload. I just had it before you distracted me. Oh, Otto Warmbier. Okay. So this was a TikTok video, and it has like really like stupid stuff about Otto Warmbier. And I'm just going to debunk this because it's fun.
Otto Warmbier was a student from UVA who probably had the worst death possible. He visited North Korea and stole a political banner. He claimed he was encouraged to steal the banner from a Methodist church in Ohio and from the Z Society from University of Virginia. During his confession speech and his detainment, he stated that North Korea treated him well. They gave him food. He was basically in a hotel, but this was all filmed so America could see. He was tortured and ultimately left in a coma. Because North Korea didn't want an American to die on their ground, they sent him back to America.
Okay, so she says he was tortured. Well, let's look at what the coroner said. Okay, so this is the coroner.
We didn't see any evidence of healing fractures or healed fractures that would have been within that time frame. If that was one of the things that was asked is, did he have any broken bones? Not to our knowledge.
Okay, so it gets worse. So let's see. Yeah, so the first thing is that he did not have. Let me see if I can find the whole Ohio coroner's video. But no, yeah. In fact, let's see. So he was not. Oh, I know exactly. Okay. So he was not tortured. Let me show you one more. Okay, here. Okay, I found it. Okay, so here's what the coroner said. Okay, so I found a video, but I will just read the New York Times article. Actually, let me just try to find the whole coroner's video. It's somewhere. I have it somewhere. Yeah. But she actually says that okay. Let me see. I swear I found the press conference. I had it somewhere. I found it. Okay. I found it. Okay, give me 1 second. I'll get it for you guys. But when you read her press conference, you see that toddlers. she says is that's my niece, sorry. Okay, I got the video. We can watch the whole press conference or just part of it. Sylvie. That's my 4-year-old niece. I don't know. That's why children are children, I guess. Okay, I know where. Oh, thank you so much, Derek LaSalle. That was very kind of you. I still haven't figured out how to, a long story, but Google takes forever. Okay, so let's watch the coroner.
All right, good afternoon. So I've been getting a lot of questions asked of me about teeth and do we see any evidence of trauma and so forth. So I thought maybe I should have a little press conference and kind of clarify some things. We actually didn't have a press conference about this case at all. And for a lot of reasons, mostly out of respect for his family. But at this point, it seems like there are more questions than answers, and maybe we should provide you some of those answers. So, with respect to whether there was any evidence of trauma to the teeth, yes, we did do a view. We did do an external examination of Otto. We also had extensive medical imaging on Otto. We also did a post-mortem CT scan, which we defined as a virtual autopsy. And with all of that information, we were able to, and we also consulted our forensic dentist, Dr. Wright, and had him take a look at the imaging, specifically dealing with the lower teeth and mandible. And he agreed with us that there is no evidence of trauma to the lower teeth or mandible.
So the coroner said that there is no evidence to the lower teeth. Let's watch popular propaganda again.
Comatose. And Otto's parents said that his teeth basically look like they were pulled out and then stuck in areas they don't grow.
Coroner.
We also had extensive medical imaging on Otto. We also did a post-mortem CT scan, which we defined as a virtual autopsy. And with all of that information, we were able to, and we also consulted our forensic dentist, Dr. Wright, and had him take a look at the imaging, specifically dealing with the lower teeth and mandible. And he agreed with us that there is no evidence of trauma to the lower teeth or mandible on the imaging or by physical examination. So that being said, I thought I would address that particular question, but was there anything else that?
Dr. Smoker, why did you feel the need at the time to reach out to a forensic dentist? Is that typical?
We usually reach out to a forensic dentist for identification purposes. A lot of times we will identify people that we may.
Wait, yeah, it makes sense to like reach out in regards to teeth. Okay, let's see.
There was no evidence of trauma to the teeth. Now, that being said, I will tell you that the forensic dentist did let me know that the front incisors often have a rounded root and they will sometimes twist as they're developing, but we don't know. We don't have enough information about what happened to as anoxic encephalopathy or brain damage caused by the lack of oxygen to the brain. We don't know what the root cause of that is. There's a couple of ways you can get that. So you either have to discontinue blood flow to the brain or stop breathing. And what caused either one of those possible events, we wouldn't know. I mean, could that have been torture at the time? We don't know. We don't have enough information about what happened to Otto at that initial insult to draw any concrete conclusions.
But nothing on his body, no wounds, no head wounds, nothing. In fact, his body, according to the report, is a well-nourished male. It seems a little surprising to me, considering he was in this sort of unresponsive state for a year. Well, can you explain
this
that?
one's pretty interesting.
So we agree. We believe that for somebody who's been bedridden for more than a year, that his body was in excellent condition.
Excellent condition.
We didn't see any evidence of decubiti or bed sores. And
no bed sores.
Physically, as far as wounds, there were a few small scars that we documented. There was one that we really couldn't explain for medical instrumentation, which some of the other scars we could. But there wasn't anything on the external examination to indicate, other than that one scar that we couldn't explain, to indicate torture. So we didn't see any evidence of healing fractures or healed fractures that would have been within that time frame. If that was one of the things that was asked is, did he have any broken bones? Not to our knowledge, not that we've been able to observe or document by medical imaging.
So somebody, in order for him to be a well-nourished male under those conditions, does that take a lot of work? Because I'm thinking the skin would break down, or I don't know anything, but how much did they care for him? Did they take care of him?
Well, I think most people are familiar with bedridden people. It takes a lot of care and a lot of consistent rotating and conditioning of the skin to make sure that you don't have skin breakdown. So I'm sure that he had to have round-the-clock care to be able to maintain the skin in the condition that it was in.
Some of the statements from the Warmbier family yesterday, Dr. Smarko.
So basically what they're saying is that in the U.S., if he was hospitalized in the U.S., he would have had, for like that long, he would have had all these bed sores, but he actually didn't even have these bed sores because apparently he was well taken care of around the clock. Unless, of course, there's this one problem. The Jute necromancy technology may erase bed sores, of course, but barring the Jute necromancy technology that they apparently have to raise people from the dead, he was actually really well taken care of. So, yeah.
So his teeth were like here, just like they were sticking out in places teeth don't grow. He had broken bones without proper treatment. So
the coroner, literally, you heard her say that he had no broken bones. And in fact,
the bones grew back kind of weird. And ultimately, he died on U.S. grounds, even though it was technically North Korea.
No, it wasn't. So what we do know is that we actually don't know why he was killed. He died. He could have been he was a vegetable though. And he was, like I said, the coroner literally said that he was better taken care there than he would have here. He was not, so she said his muscle volume was pretty good for someone who was bedridden for over a year. Yeah, so like I said, no broken bones or teeth, no obvious sign of torture. And like I said, so, and then she said apparently like why his parents said they're grieving parents, we can't make comments on their perceptions, and she's right. And apparently the official North Korean statement was that he had botulism poisoning, which is botulism is an antitoxin. And his body was in excellent condition. His skin was, this is what the coroner said. Yeah. So ultimately, there's no reason not to believe the botulism. I mean, I don't know, and his parents wouldn't allow for an autopsy, and then they cremated his body. So ultimately, I don't understand why we need to disagree. Like, there's nothing to say that this coroner was lying, nor the other doctor in North Korea was lying. Like, they're both said more or less the same thing. So, yeah. So it's funny how if you just like repeat the same thing over and over and over, even if it's not true, people are gonna think it's true. So all you have to be is like, I don't know. Oh, Putin kills journalists, and then you're like, wait a minute. Most of those journalists died when Boris Yeltsin was the leader, and Putin definitely did not get a mayor to shoot this guy who was a journalist after that guy slept with this mayor's wife, which is like, you just can't, and it's on the other side of the country. You can't really blame Putin for that. So yeah, it's like, it's just that you just repeat the same nonsense over and over and over. And I think if they repeat enough nonsense, you think that it's true or something like that. So yeah, that's, I guess, Oh, PragerU. Yes, let's do the PragerU video now. God. Oh God. Howard. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. Okay, let's do it. Ready?
Mention the Korean War today and most people will look at you with a blank stare. At the time it was fought, just 5 years after World War II ended, everyone recognized it as a world-shaping conflict, a stark confrontation between the forces of democracy and communism. It began on June 25, 1950, when Soviet-backed communist North Korea crossed the 38th parallel and invaded its US-backed anti-communist South Korean neighbor.
What are you talking about? No, that's not what happened, because this is Korea. This is not the United States. There was one Korea. And this is just some random latitude you just made up. But it sounds like you were trying to balkanize Korea and they were trying to reunify Korea like it was for millennia. Okay, let's go on.
In weeks, the communists had nearly absorbed the entire country.
So they had almost, because they had popular support and they were the only government chosen with the full consent of the Korean people. Yeah, they were not. And what happened was that there was a reason why they needed US troops. Remember what they said about Syngman Rhee, how he was unpopular and unreliable? Well, there was a lot of generals just surrendered, and because they had fought with Kim Il-sung against the Japanese, and they didn't want this like bloody collaborator with them. And so the US had to come to save the collaborationist government. So yeah, they did not have an air force. They did not, correct. They were at they had nothing actually. Like, it was ravaged by, since 1910 or 1905, the Japanese occupied it. So yeah.
The United States at first was confused over whether it should or even could respond.
No, it wasn't.
America had slashed its military budget after the end of World War II and was short both men and equipment.
How? What did you guys do in World War II again? I don't know what a Gladio-style no, this was not a Gladio-style operation. This was a full-blown war. Wait, what did they do to like be short of men during World War II? I'm sorry, but not much.
It still had not awakened fully to the expansionist threat of Soviet Russia.
What are you talking about? This is not true. This is like they liberated it from Nazi rule. What are you talking about? This is just nuts.
Soviets, buoyed by their own recent development of an atomic bomb and Mao Zedong's communist victory in China, sensed America's lack of resolve and encouraged the North's aggression.
What aggression? It's their country. It's so twisted that you can make a map of Korea and call and try to balkanize it, and then you're like, oh my god, they're aggressive because they're like don't want us to invade their country. Like what like look at the map. You are thousands of miles away. You are not there. Oh yeah, but that's not what happened. Like literally the next day, they put fascist collaborators back. There was nothing covert about Korea. What does lack of resolve mean exactly? I mean, in fact, Eisenhower or somebody like that wrote a letter about this, like really grossed out by them putting back fascist Japanese collaborators literally the next day, September 7th. Okay.
Yet within weeks, President Harry
Look at the map. That's Korea. There's nothing aggressive. Okay.
Truman rushed troops to save the shrinking Allied perimeter at Pusan on the southern tip of the Korean peninsula.
So most of the Koreans wanted the government that they democratically picked, and this was a bourgeoisie comprador government that you're trying to save. So it's the anti-democracy, but let's go on.
By late September 1950, General Douglas MacArthur had successfully completed the Incheon landings and launched counterattacks.
By exterminating, it's gross. They bombed everything. Like there was nothing left to bomb. Even I think Douglas MacArthur literally said, "There's nothing left for us to bomb."
He quickly reclaimed the entire South.
Reclaimed for whom? This is not your land. This is Korea. You stole the entire South because it's not your land.
And sent American-led United Nations forces far into North Korea.
So you invaded more of their country.
To reunite the entire peninsula.
Under a fascist psycho.
Only to be surprised when hundreds of thousands of Chinese Red Army troops crossed the Yalu River at the Chinese border and sent the outnumbered Americans reeling back into South Korea.
So basically, China was also a third world country. They did not have an air force, and that's kind of why they don't have Taiwan. And they came to rescue Korea because that's what the relationship was for thousands of years. Of course, the U.S. needs, there's no, you can't steal people's lands, their country, yeah. So weak is, yeah.
Thanks to the genius of General Matthew Ridgway, who arrived to assume supreme command in South Korea in December 1950, over the next 100 days, U.S.-led UN forces pushed the communists back across the 38th parallel.
So they by pushed across, they massacred everything. They still keep finding mass graves all the time. I mean, there's there are so many mass graves they keep finding. So they killed a lot of people.
Parallel. The fighting was fierce. Seoul, the capital of South Korea, exchanged hands between communists and U.S.-led forces 5 times before it was finally secured. During the years 1952 and 1953, the war grew static, neither side able to deliver a knockout blow.
I mean, you were fighting peasants and farmers with nothing, and 4 million, 1/4 of their population was exterminated. All 22 cities were burnt to the ground during that time. So, see, this is so sanitized. It's disgusting. Okay, let's go on.
Eventually, the conflict ended with a tense armistice in July 1953.
So after fighting for the Japanese for 30 years and against the will of most of the Korean population, the U.S. had to the U.S. cut it in half. And imagine how your heart would break if you were in the People's Republic of Korea, you've literally, and the U.S. put these fascist collaborators, these traitors, who in your country would probably have been shot for being traitors, in power, and you had to sign an armistice saying, okay, we concede half of our country to you traitors like Syngmin Rhee and Park. And just Google U.S. press. Actually, James Dresnock. Google. He tells you like how bad it was, like the child trafficking, well, they did that to Yugoslavia too, so they did the same thing to your country too. So I understand. I mean, of course you should. Yeah. So imagine how heartbreaking that is. Just in order to you have to, and also the reason why they had to mine the demilitarized zone is not to stop the Democratic People's Republic from invading, but to stop the people from the South to going to basically reunite with their relatives or whatever. And even today, Japan kidnapped a lot of Koreans. And when Japan kidnapped a lot of Koreans, you know which side they chose to go to? The side that had the consent and the will of the Korean population. I mean, yeah, until maybe even 5 years ago, there was a lot of things to get even moderate democracy in the Republic of Korea. Like until 1980, they couldn't even form unions. And you've all seen Parasite. It's actually one of my favorite movies. So yeah, it has a lot of problems. They just and the Democratic part of Korea has been telling US to get the F out for years. No, the peasants did not love them. Yes, you're right. It was. It actually grossed out like some general. I forgot what, but we'll have to search for it. Okay, so let's continue what this PragerView video is.
For over the next 60 years, a Cold War persisted between the Stalinist North and what by the 1980s had evolved into the democratic economic powerhouse of South Korea.
Evolved. 1980s evolved because what it was the fascist dictatorship until I wouldn't say economic powerhouse because it was not an economic powerhouse for most people. And it only happened because, well, the West kind of, somebody who's not a Hitlerite. Yeah, literally. Like back then, they literally used it as the opposite of Hitlerite. That's the best I can figure out. Somebody who's not a Hitlerite is a Stalinist. Yeah. And those are the two sides of the World War II. But the philosophy that they follow is called Juche, which has to do with it's like traditional Korean philosophy. No, that's just a Marxist-Leninist. A Stalinist is not a Hitlerite. No, if you look at New York Times articles of like from the 1920s and 30s, they call people who support Hitler Hitlerites. Like it was like some sort of thing where everyone was called by the leader they supported. So they called Mussolinites or Mussolinists. And they called them Hordyists. So yeah, it's just that people forgot about all the other terminology like Hitlerite, and now only Stalinist somehow stuck. Yeah, let's continue.
Over 35,000 Americans died in the Korean War.
How many Koreans died? I mean, like I said, opposite of Hitler, right? So let's just Google how many Koreans died so that we put this up. How many 1,550,000 at least. 3 okay, about 3 million if you count all the Koreans. No, sorry. 3 million civilian deaths. Another 2 million military deaths on the Korean side. So about 5 million Koreans died.
The war marked the first major armed conflict of the nuclear age.
Okay.
And one in which the United States had not clearly defeated the enemy and thus not dictated terms of surrender.
Okay. That sounds like a good thing. I don't know. I mean, it depends on who the enemy is, of course. So in this situation, it's
Was fighting the Korean War and restoring the South without uniting the entire peninsula worth the huge cost in blood and treasure?
Well, for whom? I mean, this is the thing. For whom was it worth it? For the capitalists who wanted to extract all of our resources and use the slave labor, it was definitely worth it. Otherwise, they would not have. Exactly, because when you see the dead Koreans, which is about at like 5 million, 35,000. Let me do a quick graph of that because so that people can see. Somebody, I will try to see if I can do a quick graph of 35,000 versus 5 million. But it's not even. It's like very. It's for me, it was like I also do the one where about like people killed in World War II, and you see the same thing. 5 million is the lowest estimate. Oops, I've okay, let's see. How do we make this graph smaller? Okay, I got it. Okay, so let's see if this was a quickie graph, so we can get the proportion. See, 30. Oops. Ignore the fact that I got the Americans and Koreans mixed up here. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. Ignoring that fact. Okay. 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 Yeah, he won't even say the number of dead Koreans, and let's totally ignore that fact. I'll fix that later.
The natural dividend of saving the South was the evolution of today's democratic and prosperous South Korea.
What is
it has given its 50 million citizens undreamed of freedom and affluence.
What is he
and
talking
has blessed
about?
The world with
What is he talking about? Freedom and affluence. Like seriously, like this is utter nonsense. I mean, you know, actually, let me show you the. There's this law called the Basic Law. Not the Basic Law. I'm sorry. Their national security law. Okay, I fixed